Hey, everybody, I hope you are doing well. Welcome back to the table, as I say, checking in with you this Friday. Man, it's just like so much going on right now. It just feels not anxious necessarily, but just like the momentum, right? Maybe because of this eclipse that we're just having, the momentum towards the midterms is just really amping everything up. Couple of things that I felt spirit was like, yeah, let's look at that today in the wake of Caroline Levitt's exit. And they're scrambling apparently to try and figure out like who could even do what she did, right, to in the way that she did it, like holding fast no matter what, who said what to who. Caroline was going to get up there and say what she was going to say. Interesting couple of names that are being floated. Alina Haba, we know Trump seems to have some whatever. I started to say feelings for her, but that certainly doesn't feel like a right word, right? But anyway, apparently she's strongly in contention for it. We know she'll get up there and say whatever needs to be said. But here's what I'm wondering. Now we're starting to hear, like, if someone had asked us, a couple of months ago, did we ever see Caroline stepping down? The answer just would have been a hard no, right? Caroline was in for the long haul. I had a couple of people reach out and say, like, what was that really about? Some jokes around, was this sort of a cat fight because of his decision to take Natalie Harp on the other plane, and he left Caroline Levitt and others on the decoy plane. Yes, I did get that. Like, that certainly didn't go over well, but also that it may have been her husband pushing her to step back because he sees the writing on the wall, as many do with this administration. So let's take a look at that first. Spirit, did Caroline Levitt actually, did she exit because they see this imploding? This administration is imploding. We have the Knight of Coins, a slow and steady, but I'm not going to ignore it. The Devil's right behind it, and Death. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. End of things happening. Death also ruling Scorpio. So in terms of timing, November, the devil, things, this bondage, if you will, or misplaced loyalty that perhaps her husband, Caroline Levitt's husband, said, hey, listen up, we gotta make some moves here. And the Knight of Coins, I think this had been, coins moves, but it moves slowly. I think this had been in effect, or growing, her decision to leave since her maternity leave is what I'm getting. So it wasn't all about, and the Two of Pentacles. Yes, she's been weighing this out for a while. And so it wasn't just about the situation on the plane may have been like the straw that broke the camel's back, but Caroline's been thinking about exiting for a while because between the devil and death, she sees that everybody knows what's going to happen in November, what this administration is going to do to try and create the chaos to get the result that they want. That's another story we're going to have to go through step by step as we get there. We know it's coming. But and we also know that governors and attorneys generals and election officials, we've talked about it on on this channel, and will more, but do some more. But there's everybody sees this coming, and there will be things and safeguards in place, right? However, that has to get fought. But Caroline had been thinking about this for a while. Now, is Susie Wiles? I need to pick up. Is Susie Wiles next? And the reason I'm asking, we know that there was the health concern. We know that the reports were, word on the street as it is, was that Susie said she was going to bow out after the midterms, right? Seeing the writing on the wall. Of course, publicly, she's denied that and said, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here for forever. Don't worry about me. I'm here. I'm not so sure about that. Spirit. Is Susie Wiles going to be the next big female? Like, a lot of problems around women with him right now, even the ones that have been loyal. Is Susie Wiles going to be next out the door? Plausibly because of health concerns, etc. Is Susie Wiles, chief of staff, Trump's chief of staff, is she next out the door? Is she going to follow soon behind Caroline Levitt? Is Susie Wiles going to leave her this tower? And you saw me shuffle. There's the Tower. And I'm going to tell you, and I've said this before when I've read into Susie Wiles's energy as it relates to Frump, and the Nine of Wands, just tired of it. Just like, how much more am I supposed to carry? How many more, stories can I concoct about this still being a legitimate situation with him in office? So yes, I think, but it's coming so strongly with that Tower, and the Ten of Pentacles. Enough is enough. Like, enough is enough. And the Ten of Pentacles also representing the cabinet as a whole. I think that's why we're seeing the Tower. Susie recognizes that Frump has lost his clout. He's lost it with Republican leaders. He's lost it with the public. Ace of Pentacles. Spirit is confirming. And notice we're getting a lot of Pentacles energy. Pentacles moves slow. And I know that's been a part of the frustration with a lot of this. Like, come on, Spirit, come on. Let's, move this situation out so we can get some folks in that know what they're doing. It is running a lot slower than anybody wants, right? But it is happening. Susie's going to leave. And when she does, that Tower signals the Three of Cups. There will be a lot of celebration around seeing her leave, because a lot of people recognize that his inner circle, quote unquote, I'm putting that in quotes, like whatever that really means. His inner circle is just really disintegrating before our eyes. And Susie has been Susie Wiles has been such a linchpin around that. I'm also getting, Spirit just pinged me around her that last effort that Susie Wiles made with John Thune in the Senate to try and get some things over the finish line for him, the SAVE Act and other things, and it didn't go well. So she feels that there's the Ace of Cups, Spirit confirming. So that's it. Susie feels like at the end of the day, he's lost his clout and which in turn means she's losing her clout. She's losing her effectiveness and her ability to have an impact. So be on the lookout for that, you all. I think Susie's gonna head out. She's gonna head for the exit. But the fact that comes so strongly with the Tower says there's no place for him to turn. There's no place for him to turn in terms of someone that he really has history with, he really trusts. He really knows that without question has loyalty for him. Like, no, that's gonna mess him up in a big way. Susie leaving is gonna mess him up. All right. Second thing I want to look at today, with everything happening right now with the Navy, military at large, but certainly everything with these aircraft carriers in the Navy. So Keg's Breath, as many of you call him, or Pentagon Pete, a lot of others call him. He was in Panama, and his behavior, super hyper aggressive, erratic, for entertainment purposes only, right? Being questioned about what's happening with these aircraft carriers. We're hearing soldiers jumping ship or threatening to jump ship, just all of it. You all have heard about this. And of course, they're denying it and saying stories are being misrepresented, blah, blah, blah. But families are telling the truth, even though they're desperately afraid to do so, right? But they're telling the truth. We will see more of that. Spirit has been very clear, and it stands to reason logically that we're going to see a lot more revealed as some of these military personnel come back, and the treatment that they're going to need as a result of that. But Gavin Newsom came right out and said, Pentagon Pete's behavior was really, really erratic, like flailing arms and all of the whole. Said, has he been drug tested lately? And we know there were a lot of concerns as he was going through the confirmation process around substance abuse in the past, right? Spirit is Pentagon Pete, we'll call him that. Is he going to be under pressure for drug testing? The Three of Swords and the Sun comes behind it. I will not ignore that. He's got regrets, or he will have regrets about what he is doing I feel this is with his physical health because the sun is about life and life giving properties. I am wondering as well with that sun, super hyper masculine energy, spirit, is this more, we heard about all this testosterone stuff that he was going to mandate for military personnel who tested below a certain line that they had to take these testosterone treatments. Spirit, is he overdoing it? Is that the agitation and aggression? Is Hexeth overdoing strength? Overdoing it. So I think that's what we're seeing, and that's what Gavin Newsom was calling into question and the Four of Wands, yes, trying to show, his whole warrior ethos that he's always talked about, right? He's going to be watched so closely, and I think he's starting to crumble. And part of what he's doing with taking these therapies is allegedly, supposedly, perhaps, right? Got to say that. But in taking whatever these therapies are, he's trying to keep himself on top of it. But he's not. That Three of Swords, there's a devil again. And also, when we're talking about substance or issues around substance and the devil comes in tarot, it is one of the absolute strongest indicators of a potential situation with substances. Spirit, will he be, when Congress changes, will there be an investigation into Hexeth that leads to him having to submit to drug testing? There's the Fool. There will be, at the very least, I think what Spirit is saying here is there will be some measures that are put in place around required drug testing, perhaps even by military leaders, not just those within, because we know, I think that's already standard procedure within the military itself in terms of personnel, but we're looking at the higher ups, such as Pete Hexeth. So there's the Fool, and there's the Moon. Substances, again, behind the devil. That's my next strongest card for potential substances, but also in particular alcohol. He's walking a thin line, and I think there's going to be some accountability with him. And I think he sees it coming, or he will see it coming very shortly. And Newsom is onto it. Newsom is going to be a major proponent of that, pushing that. Of course, he's not in, and there's the Hermit, studying it, paying attention to it, health concerns. The Hermit is related to Virgo. Virgo, we know, is our health conscious sign above others, right? Yes. Is he actually going to crumble physically? Hexeth. Is he going to crumble physically? There's the Nine of Swords, mental strain, and the Magician. And you know what's interesting? Because the Magician is an energy of creation, right? Things that you create. This will be an implosion of his own making, is what Spirit is saying here, you all. It's not even just the pressure that he's been under to continue to appease Frump, getting sucked deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole. This is something he elected to do. Nine of Swords and the Magician. This is mental implosion, and it's going to result in bad things. We'll leave it at that, right? Not going to be good at all for him. I do think in terms of accountability, though, what we're seeing is it's going to take some time. We will need a different congressional oversight, investigative people who will get into Congress and be willing to take him to task for this and let him know, you're going to have to, we need you to show up at a doctor's office. We need to take a closer look at you, buddy, because some of your behavior is extremely erratic. And this will be, and there's the Hangman. We need to evaluate you, sir. We need to evaluate you. And here's the deal. Spirit, will Frump try to save him? Will Frump try to save Hexeth from that? There's the Seven of Wands. He'll talk some bluster around it. Why? And the Chariot. He Trump is gonna try and derail, to the extent that he can. He's gonna try and derail and talk a lot of bluster around why are y'all picking on, why are y'all picking on my guy, but it's not gonna work. The Chariot is like the desire by these congressional folk, the desire by the public, the continued desire by the military, both former leaders of the military and those who are in the military who have experienced all of this. He can't stop it. There's the high priestess. It will come out. It will come out about his whatever it is he's doing, right? And the extent to which it's just crumbling him mentally. And so Trump's going to try and get him out and squeeze him out of it, but he won't be able to. There's the Page of Pentacles. He won't be able to. There's going to be, and Pentacles in this regard, I think, is about what is this man taking? What is he doing? And new therapies, because this whole, movement toward testosterone and related hormonal treatments, experimental even, some would argue, that's going to come out about him in a big way. And so therefore, is he even qualified, or can he be impeached or taken out of his seat? Trump's going to try and prevent that from happening, but I think he's going to self-implode. I think that's what we're seeing here. The energy around Hexeth himself, he's going to self-implode. Knight of Swords. Remember, we just saw that Nine of Swords. So it's already in motion. Like, he's already, like, teetering. And the Nine of Swords is like taking him closer and closer there. The Seven of Wands comes back. He's going to try and fight it with the bluster and the aggression. But so does the Three of Swords come back. A lot of regret that he will feel on the back end. Not for anything that he's done, but for himself. Heg's breath, as many of these other people who have gotten sucked into Trump's orbit, who were not qualified for the positions they've been put in, but they believed that this was catapulting them for something longer than Trump himself. They really believed that they were going to be a part of this larger power broker stage for years to come. And it ain't happening. And he's watching it. He's watching that in real time before his eyes. So Pete's in trouble. All right. And the last thing I wanted to look at today, conscientious objectors. So we've been talking about all of this within, specifically more in the Navy, but military overall, the stress, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's gonna continue to mushroom. So they've got this mandatory registration for the draft that takes effect in December, right? People, I think mostly men, they're saying, between the ages of 18 and 26, who will be automatically registered. Now, that doesn't mean drafted, but registered for a draft. I am wondering, talking about the military families right now, talking about the fact that all this administration was supposed to be anti-war. No more wars, no more never-ending wars. America first. We just want to take care of what's happening here in our borders. Spirit, are we going to see... we're going to see something. And the devil landed right there in front of me again. Are we going to see conscientious objectors like never before? Will there be families who assist those who are put on those young people who are registered? Are we going to see a conscientious objector movement unlike anything in the history of this country? That's what I'm getting. Ace of Cups. Didn't even have to work hard for it, y'all. Ace of Cups. We're going to see, like, people are not. And the Five of Wands. You want to fight? Let's fight it out. Conflict. Yeah, that's not going to go well at all. At all. And there is deep resentment. And there's the Star to protect the people, the will of the people. The idea that this is absolutely counter to everything that Americans were promised if they went along, if they played nice with this administration, that they would be better off. No. And so you're going to see an incredible And this is not just, this is like everybody jumps on board. Every civil rights organization, every, power to the people organization, every protest and activist organization across the board, right? They're going to come together to resist this draft. Well, not draft. The if a draft is implemented, if they start trying to draft people off of those who are automatically registered, it ain't gonna go well at all. There's the Nine of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords, and Judgment. So the Nine of Pentacles is the bodies, trying to recruit the bodies, trying to build the military, because clearly there are going to be a lot of folks who are either, I don't know enough, forgive me for this, I don't know enough about the military process, but to the extent that those who are going to come back, who have had these long deployments and are going to come back and need, medical treatment, mental health treatment, etc. Like, they cannot go on. That's the idea here in this Nine of Pentacles, is the depletion of the military, the depletion of bodies. And so you've got this Knight of Swords to try and send out, register and try and do try to get people geeked up on recruitment. But you've got Judgment. People will see the writing on the wall. People will see that no, the military, the benefits, the safety, the idea that if you do this, you're set for life with, with your medical, educational opportunities, all the things that were selling points in the past. Not happening. There's a Nine of Cups. What people really want is to do exactly, and the Eight of Pentacles. Look at that puppy in that chair. That's what people want, to be left alone, live in peace, be able to, live their lives without all of the stress. And the Seven of Pentacles is this, you might be promising me dangling a whole lot of carrots to make me think that joining the military is going to be a long-term solution for my well-being or my family's well-being and safety. No, not buying it anymore. So a lot of conscientious objectors, and not just by the families themselves, but again, I see that as becoming a larger political movement. All right, y'all. Please take care out there. Find reasons to laugh and be with people who love you and you love them, and counter some of this news stuff that we do, that we're all a part of and we want to be aware, but really finding that balance in your lives for playtime, for the things that bring you joy and laughter and activities that help you lighten up. We've got to have that balance in our lives so we can. Those are the things that help us keep our chins up and our shoulders back and come from our hearts, keep our hearts steady and strong, keep our blood pressure okay. All right? Sky above us, always. It ain't going nowhere. And they don't control what happens out there in source. Divinity. No control over that. That's what we align with always. And the earth beneath us, reminding us, go smell some flowers, right? Look at the beauty of this earth that we're still on. Always. All right? I hope that was helpful, and I will talk with you all in a couple of days. Take care out there. Bye.